Alright guys, so today we're gonna make steak, mashed potatoes, and garlic bread. So we have 2 pieces of steak here. What we're gonna do is we're gonna wash them and then we're gonna put them in the we're gonna put them out to dry on a paper towel. So we're gonna wash them here in the sink. Then we're gonna take them, place them on a paper towel we put on a plate. Then we're gonna pat them dry so our seasoning sticks to them. Then we're gonna take some Worcestershire sauce, put it in a measuring cup, and a few other spices. So here we have pepper, garlic powder, some steakhouse seasoning, and some Old Bay. Now we're gonna start with adding some garlic powder to our Worcestershire sauce. Then next we're gonna add a little bit of the steakhouse seasoning to it. It's got a little sea salt, a couple little other spices. It's really good stuff. Then we're gonna add some Old Bay seasoning to it next. So Old Bay also has salt in it, so be careful with how much salt content you put in here because you don't want it to be too salty. So finally, we're gonna add a little bit of black pepper. Now I like pepper. I like a nice little spice to it, but I don't want it too spicy. So then we're gonna take a whisk it all up, get it nice and mixed, and then we're gonna take that and set it to the side. Next, we're gonna take a bag, just a little sandwich bag, so like our steak. We're gonna stuff it in the bag. I'm having a little trouble because it was a little larger than I thought it would be. The bag was a little smaller. Now you're gonna take the marinade, you're gonna pour it into the bag, and there you go. Now you're gonna take it, you're gonna seal it up. My fingers are a little bit greasy because of the fat content of the steak, but seal it, turn it around, toss it, get it nice and mixed and covered well. Now next, we're gonna take a half onion and we're gonna cut it. Now, I'm not the best onion slicer in the world, so you'll have to bear with me. And if I'm doing something wrong, I don't really care. There you go. Now we're gonna take our steak, our diced onion, put a little diced onion in there because it tenderizes the meat. Be generous with it. Then we're gonna take our steak and seal it back up. We're gonna toss it all the way around. What you wanna do is you wanna get onion on both sides of the steak and nice and covered. Now we're gonna start washing some potatoes because we're gonna make mashed potatoes from scratch. We're not doing no box stuff over here. So let's get these potatoes washed, and we use cold water to wash the potatoes. We do this, to keep any dirt or anything, contaminants from getting into the food. Now we're gonna start peeling the potatoes, and I'm not the best at it. Now we're gonna take our peeled potatoes, put them into some hot water, and now we're gonna take some butter, put it into a skillet, get the butter spread around, nice and melted. Look at the flick of that wrist. There you go. Now we're gonna take our steak and we're gonna lay it down. What we wanna do here is we wanna kind of sear the steak to lock in the juices on each side. So we're gonna sear it. I'm gonna cover it a little bit. Now we're gonna take it and then we're gonna flip it. We also added a little bit more butter, but that was off screen. So we're gonna take it and flip it. Now you see this nice golden color. That's kind of what you're looking for. Give it a little quick toss, a little quick stir. There you go. You got a pan out. We're gonna bake these steaks in the oven after searing them on both sides. Take them and flip them. Man, that looks so juicy. Okay, so now we got those in the pan. We're gonna take our juices that we just fried and we're gonna pour them over the steak. It's got some onion in it. This will just add a little flavor to it. So we get that over the steak, and then we have some drippings left over in our bags from marinade. So we're just gonna add those on top of the steak with the onion too, because like I said, the onion will help tenderize the meat. We have our oven preheated at about 350, 375. You could also do this at 400, but just cover it on less time. So there you go. We put it in the bottom, middle rack at 350, 375 degrees. Then we put our garlic toast in as well. Close the door and let those go. Now we're gonna start working on these potatoes. These potatoes are boiling. Once they get soft, we're gonna take them. We're gonna drain them. Now we're gonna rinse them, let it drain all the water out really good. Now you take the potatoes, put them back in, they may be brittle. Right there I'm adding a tiny bit of garlic powder. I'm adding a little bit of black pepper. There's the butter, about half a stick. And then there's the cream cheese, about half a package, maybe a little bit more than half a package. That just adds some richness and creaminess to it. Now you're gonna take those, and I took a fork here because I didn't have a potato masher, and I actually just started mashing the potatoes together. So you just keep mashing with some heavy cream, some salt and pepper. Just keep mashing and mashing and mashing and mashing and mashing and mashing. Now it may get hard, it's a lot easier with a potato peeler, but don't get discouraged, you'll get it. I'm adding a little bit more heavy cream here to get the right consistency I want, because you can always add more, but you can never take any out. So patience. Now we're gonna check on our steak here. That's looking good. Okay, now let our steak, cool down a little bit, fresh out the oven. You never want to cut your steak fresh out the oven because it will let the juices run out. When you let it sit for about 2 or 3 minutes, you actually lock the juices in. Now, you see the fat is nice and crispy. That's how you know you have a good steak. Okay, moment of truth, let's give it a cut. Okay, it's relatively tender. It's a little bit more than medium well. It's about well done, honestly. That's not exactly where I wanted it to go, but that's fine because it's still delicious. It's still really tender. So, boom. Cheers to the camera guy. Okay. Keep cutting it up because what we're going to do is we're going to start plating. We kind of tore into about half of a steak here at this point. So that's the consistency. I finally got the potatoes to with the fork. Nice and mashed. A little chunky, not too bad. But they were really good. Nice and creamy, fluffy. We took some garlic bread, courtesy of a box. And then the juices always dry up at the bottom, get stuck to the pan. That doesn't matter what you cook in there. Okay, so boom. Now, I'm by no means a professional chef, but we made something happen here. And there you have it.